You loved our last deep dive into the secret crossovers between Peppa Pig and Ben and Holly. But guess what? We've discovered even more. From Santa's double life to Madame Gazelle's secret music career, these new Easter eggs prove that the Little Kingdom hasn't just visited Peppa's world, it's living in it. So today we're uncovering 7 more hidden times Peppa met Ben and Holly. Let's go. If you thought Christmas in Peppa's world was just about trees and tinsel, think again. Because hiding in that festive chaos is one of the biggest Ben and Holly crossovers ever. In the episode Peppa's Christmas, Peppa and George post their letters to Santa, pick out a ridiculously oversized tree, and get tucked in for the night. But the real surprise doesn't come until later, when Santa turns up. And if you look carefully, hanging on the ceiling above him is a line of Christmas cards, and one of them has Ben Elf on it. But not the usual Ben you'd expect. This one's got a purple hat and a green top. It's the pilot version of Ben from the early days of Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom. But here's where things get really interesting, because Peppa's Santa isn't the only one out there. If you've watched Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom, you'll know that Father Christmas shows up there too. And when you put them side by side, the resemblance is impossible to ignore. They're clearly the same guy, except for one tiny detail. The Ben and Holly version looks younger and slimmer, almost like this is Santa from his early career days. And if that wasn't enough proof, wait till you hear the voices. In Ben and Holly, Santa is voiced by Richard Ridings, the same actor who plays Daddy Pig. But in Peppa Pig, he's voiced by David Graham, who just so happens to play the wise old elf in Ben and Holly, obviously an older voice. Is it a coincidence? Or Peppa's way of quietly telling us that the magic of the Little Kingdom has always been part of her world? It just moved up the timeline. Now here's a crossover that really sails straight into view. Redbeard the elf pirate from Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom has officially dropped anchor inside Peppa Pig. If you've seen him before, you'll remember. Scruffy red beard, blue and white stripes, and black pirate's hat. In Ben and Holly, he's a self-proclaimed explorer who spends half his time treasure hunting and the other half trying, and failing, to impress Nanny Plum. But in Peppa Pig's episode Police Station, Redbeard makes an unexpected cameo. The police officers are showing Peppa and George the lost property, umbrellas, handbags, and even pirate treasure. They joke that pirates always forget where they've buried it, and none have ever come to claim it. Cut to outside, and who's standing right there? Redbeard himself. Same hat, same stripes, same fiery beard, now looking older, rounder, and armed with a shiny hook. It's almost like we're seeing the same Redbeard years later, proof that Peppa Pig takes place after the events of Ben and Holly. And speaking of Redbeard, he's not the only one who's been traveling between the shows, because right at the front of his pirate ship sits a very familiar parrot. Every good pirate needs a trusty parrot, and Redbeard from Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom has exactly that. Meet Polly, his loyal sidekick, who spends her days squawking orders and sitting proudly on the bow of his ship, Pedro. We'll come back to this Easter egg later. There's just one small detail. Polly is huge. She's not fairy-sized, not elf-sized, she's Peppa Pig-sized. That's when things start to look a little suspicious, because over in Peppa Pig, Granny and Grandpa Pig also happen to own a colorful parrot named Polly too. Put the two side by side and it's impossible not to notice. Same name, same attitude, same look. It's like Polly traded pirate life on the high seas for a retirement home with Grandpa Pig. We've seen Ben and Holly sneak into Peppa's world through books before, but this time, they've made it into the bedtime story itself. In the episode Bedtime Story, Daddy Pig sits down to read to Peppa and George before they go to sleep. Everything looks normal, until you look a little closer at the book in Daddy Pig's hands. Right there on the open pages, clear as day, are Ben and Holly. Full color, fairy wings, and those familiar pointy hats. And when Daddy Pig closes the book, the back cover shows what looks exactly like the Little Kingdom's castle, sitting on its hill surrounded by clouds. So, once again, the worlds are crossing over right under our noses, which means Daddy Pig isn't just reading any old bedtime story. He's literally retelling events from Ben and Holly's world. It turns out books aren't the only thing linking Peppa's world to Ben and Holly's. Music is too. In Peppa Pig, we all know Madame Gazelle isn't just a playgroup teacher. She's a rock legend. Back in her glory days, she played in her sister band, the Rocking Gazelles. In the episode Madame Gazelle's Leaving Party, they reunite, complete with glitter, guitars, and their famous song that goes, But here's where it gets interesting. In Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom, during Gaston's birthday party, that same song plays in the background while everyone dances. Same tune, same energy. It's unmistakable. So what does that mean?
He said that, but what I really meant was, I do want a party.
Oh!
Either the Rocking Gazelles went on a secret fairy world tour, or Madame Gazelle's hit single became so iconic that even elves and ladybirds are partying to it. We love this crossover. Here's one crossover that's so cheeky it's almost hiding in plain sight. In the Peppa Pig episode The Children's Fate, Suzy Sheep is in charge of face painting. When Miss Rabbit asks to be a mountain leopard, Suzy refuses. She's only painting fruit today. Before Miss Rabbit can finish her next sentence to say which fruit she'd like to be painted, Suzy cuts in with and covers her face completely in purple paint. And that's where the inside joke kicks in. In Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom, Miss Rabbit's voice actor, Sarah Ann Kennedy, also plays none other than Nanny Plum. So this isn't just a random color choice, it's a full-on studio wink. And it's not just the voice that's similar. Both characters are bossy, overworked, and somehow manage about 50 jobs at once. Miss Rabbit didn't just get her face painted, she literally got turned into Nanny Plum. Here's a crossover that jumps out the moment you notice it, and it all starts with one name, Pedro. In Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom, Redbeard's pirate ship is proudly named Pedro, as seen in the episode The Elf Submarine. But that's not all. When Redbeard shows up again in the episode The Party, his car's number plate also reads Pedro 2. That's two major shoutouts to the same name, across two different vehicles. And here's the best part. The voice actor behind Pedro Pony and Peppa Pig also voices Barnaby Elf, who just so happens to be Redbeard's nephew in Ben and Holly. So it's not just a name, it's a full-on family crossover. So there you have it, 7 hidden Ben and Holly crossovers hiding right inside Peppa Pig. From Santa's familiar face to Redbeard's pirate adventures, Polly's oversized cameo, bedtime storybooks, and even Miss Rabbit's secret link to Nanny Plum. The two worlds are clearly more connected than we ever realized. At this point, it's not just a few Easter eggs, it's practically one giant shared universe, full of winks, nods, and inside jokes from the creators. But which crossover do you think is the most convincing? Tell us in the comments. We love seeing your theories. And if you haven't already, check out our other videos packed with more hidden secrets and wild discoveries from the world of Peppa Pig. Thank you for watching.